Okay.
Introduce yourself and tell us what's going on.
Okay, I am Rachel Schick from Granby Elementary School. I teach art there. So we have been working, this is my junior, or some of my junior high students, 7th and 8th graders who have been working on printmaking. If you haven't been aware of printmaking, it's like a piece of linoleum that they were giving, and then they have carving tools where they have to carve into it and basically make a stamp. So they have made a Christmas stamp to give to everybody. So we are going to hand those out. Who do we have first? So Mr. Farmer, go get it.
He's right here, but he's not here.
Come drop it
Right
off
next
for
to
him,
him.
We'll look at
What is yours? Miss Harris. You might have Miss Harris. I just was given.
Okay, so you were given you asked for the central office
Okay.
people.
Okay. I'll keep
So
them.
that's a central office person that's
Perfect.
not here.
Okay. Sorry, we might have more.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Okay. Mr. Anderson. Dr. Mitchell.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
That's your next one. Tyler.
No, stop. Mr. Charlton.
Mr. Charleston.
Thank you, sir.
Miss Harper.
Miss Harper.
Here. Thank you, Jonathan.
Oh, that one.
Oh.
Miss McDermott. Central. Miss McDermott.
Oh,
Miss Mari.
also.
Okay. What's your next one?
Mr. Baker.
Mr.
How many times have you been
Did you see that? He drives us fast.
What's your last one?
Second.
You know that one. Miss Martin. Central office. Miss Lori Martin. Yep.
Thank you.
Keep it. Miss Taylor. Miss Taylor.
It's not here.
Not here, okay. And Mrs. White. Miss White.
And if you're allergic to poison ivy, don't touch me.
I'm not.
Thank
so.
you.
And Mr. Friend.
Thank you.
I have to just mention how great these kiddos were because I did put it out there to both my classes who wanted to come. So these are the kids that actually wanted to come and see kind of what this is all about. So,
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Wonderful
Nice
job.
job.
This is a quite a treat. Thank you all very much. Have a very happy holiday.
Thank
You guys can stay if you want.
Thanks. Where's Chuck staying?
Oh,
Yeah.
I moved.
Oh, does little Betsy get to stay with us?
Well, Big Betsy.
Oh, see, Betsy over there.
Older Betsy.
There you go.
Is supposed to be here. I know. Bad word.
Yeah, that's on.
Bad verbiage there.
We
Or
need
she
to
won't want
either
to.
approve or amend the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
So,
Okay. Tracy, you have anything? All in favor? Okay, 6 out. Do we have any public comment?
I believe so. Nope.
Okay. Okay, so we need the approval of the consent agenda. Matt?
I'll
okay.
second it.
Andy second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
6-0. Okay, program evaluations. Up first is Ron Biddle, Mr.
Yes.
Santa.
Let me call that. You guys all have one of these in front of you, the evaluation.
Oh, and Ron Biddle.
Yep.
I hope I covered everything. I added, on the very end, the septic field house bathrooms and concession stand. You guys know we've been having issues with that. and I wanted to get a price for installation on this. I know. And I called Amy Henson. You guys know Amy Henson? And she says, what would it take to get it plumbed around and get it in for lagoon? And I said, we could do that. And she suggested that's what we do, because this ground is just not conducive to having this kind of moisture out there and stuff. And the only problem with that, I feel like the lagoon is already made its match. And I know, we talked about it, most of it's water. Most of it probably just be, water form. And I understand it, you might not put that big a load. I don't know what water does to the lagoon without talking to somebody. And we kind of tread lightly on who we talk to about the lagoon, because we don't, we don't know what's the law, the rules and regulations. Anyway, that's probably our biggest issue that I could see one of our issues. We're hoping to do a lot of this construction this summer on some of the stuff, but that's one of our issues. Any questions? You guys have anything? You see stuff in there that pops out or?
Well, you've got something about the lagoon waste system in here already with DNR.
Did I have what?
I said you're already talking about the lagoon,
Yes.
because you met with the DNR.
Actually, when the summer hit, we had issues with our lagoon, and we called the guy, and he come and he checked it, and it's about half, he considered it about half full. But we was a little higher on our water level too at the time. So, I think I don't know. I guess the DNR didn't ever talk to us about what to do with anything. They didn't give us any suggestions unless we cleaned it out, or what was the other suggestion? Added bugs to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was kind of a weird conversation, because this guy says they make their own bugs to eat this up. This guy, he's a scientist, and he comes out here, I don't know. But he adds this stuff. It's supposed to work. And I was like talking to a guy, and he goes, yeah, he said it got so cold last winter, it killed a lot of these small lagoons. Yeah. And I was like, maybe that's all our issue is. Maybe, it'll come back when we get warm weather. Maybe it'll start back working better. I don't know what to say. I'm just saying. Maybe that's an issue I never thought of. So, any other questions?
It's not really at a tipping point, but it's just watch is where it is.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
How far into the future are we looking for the storm shelters at Granby and Triway?
I think both of those Rusty had already looked at, and because they already have storm shelter at Triway, it's on us. And because this has a Granby address, they say that one's on us too, because it's technically Granby.
that doesn't stop us when the grants, if a grant comes around, we'll still, when the SEMA and FEMA says they open the grants again, we'll still fill out the grants and see, make them tell us no. But it's not optimistic to get it done, but it's still.
Not optimistic ever. Doesn't sound
Don't
good.
know. How many people will this shelter hold?
Is it 500? It's 500, I think.
Yeah, because it's supposed to hold the entire population of the high school plus everybody in a 2-mile radius
Right.
around it. So I think you could probably get 1,200 people in there.
But the storm's coming.
I was thinking a lot more in there if you need to.
Well, if you need to.
The hallway's big, not always a whole lot, plus it's got.
When they talk about how many fits, it's standing room only, shoulder
You're
to
right.
shoulder.
Yeah.
So, and filling up bathrooms, everything that's there.
I think the one at Stella was 250.
It's not very good.
Yeah.
That counted me. You have the Triway gym on here, I see. That would be nice if you could get that taken care of. Are the outlets, is that at every building?
Yeah, pretty much. Some worse than others. And this is what, I know this sounds funny, but the rock building was built in 1936, so I don't know what was electrical in 1936, but it wasn't like it is today. I guarantee you. And they've added new,
Yes.
and then we took off that and put receptacles in the classrooms. There's never enough. I mean, you could put them every 4 feet and that wouldn't be enough, I don't think.
On this, football field lighting,
Mhm.
I thought we were going to take care of that, is that, okay?
That's part of the plan.
Okay.
We don't have the cost yet, but that's part of the
Okay.
plan.
Okay. And also the parking lot, right? Out here, parking lot lighting.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, 'cause it is dark.
Yes. That's kind of my fault because I didn't want them working on our old lights when we have these new LEDs coming. But I talked to Sean, you know Sean, and he said that during Christmas, they're gonna start working on installing them. But the outside lights is probably his least priority because he wants to work while the kids are not in there. He wants to do inside. And then he said he can install them out there in the parking lot at a time when as long as nobody's parked around them, anytime. And I go, I agree. But that just hinders our lighting some, but
Anyone have anything else? Thank you, Mr. Ritter.
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
And safety, that's you?
Yep, should have it in front of you. The only thing that is different than last year is we don't have a full-time safety officer anymore. So that's the only thing that's different, and that's a concern, because it's hard to keep up on everything, but everything on there that we did in the past, we're still doing. Still inspecting equipment, still doing those things.
Anyone have questions on this?
It's pretty straightforward.
If there aren't any questions, we'll move on to fall athletics. Ms. Cranston?
Good evening, thanks for having me. I sent in cost of workers, gate revenue, referee cost, a list of accolades that our athletes earned this fall. One accolade that was not mentioned on there because it wasn't out yet was Ty Bowman made All-State in football this year. So he was second team All-State punter. That was
2 years in a row, right?
we've had
As
three
a punter?
All-State football players, one each year that Coach Wood's been here. So very good middle linebacker and 2 punters. So that's very good. Happy to add that on there. I got some other positive notes on the program, and if there's any questions about what I turned in, feel free to ask those too. Our cross-country boys finished third in the state this year. They ran well. We have 2 leaders in that program, in Gabe Bergen and Kelton Sorrell, that will go down as 2 of the most decorated athletes, accomplishment-wise, through running and basketball that the school's ever seen. They're way up there in that. Don't know if they're the most, but they've achieved a lot, and their team ran really well this year. Volleyball showed great improvement this year, and last year was a tough season. It was a season of teaching. That team won 2 sets of volleyball, no matches. This year the team won 6 matches and won 23 sets, 24 sets of volleyball, so they actually won 12 times the number of sets they won in year 1 with Coach Brown, and lost a ton of sets within 3 or 4 points. Rogers, Arkansas was one of those, and so really good showing from them this year. Coach Brown's had a really good impact in our building too, as a business teacher, and a couple event nights they did with cancer awareness and fundraising for cancer patients, and so she did a really good job this year. Our football team won a couple more games this year, including a playoff win over Eldo in the districts. I think a lot of you were there that night, and so they did a really good job there. The coaching staff is in a really good spot with our football team, and we're really looking up. We're in a tough situation with our schedule. And so I did a deep dive into what we've done since 2010 versus Class 2 schools, and I will not bore you with all of those numbers, but if any of you would like to know, hey, what were you talking about, I'd be happy to talk to you about it, email you. It's just a handwritten chart I got a picture of on my phone. But the program has been turned around. The football program has been turned around. It really is there, and we had a pretty good football team this year, and the numbers of the last 3 years kind of back up that we have a good football program. And so we are full bore into the Big 8, and we are plowing ahead, and we're going to have another good year next year. Our baseball and softball programs were active this fall. A lot of workouts, off-season workouts, after-school workouts. So kids that weren't involved in fall sport, a lot of them were hitting and throwing and receiving really good training from Coach Jones and Coach Savage, so they were active. A lot of our students, 56 of our students, I think exactly, started a Russian squat program during pass, before school, after school, whenever they could get it in. It's extra outside of their regular strength and conditioning. I think we have 30 that are actually going to finish the whole program, and it's just a power squat program meant to build muscle and strength quickly. And so that's been, Coach Woods had that open. We've got boys, girls, athletes, non-athletes. We have a guitar player who's in it. And so anyway, that's been going really well. Coach Woods done a good job at tailoring our strength and conditioning during class to different sports, boys and girls, and in season, out of season. You know, for instance, with 3 weeks left in our cross-country season, he started allowing them to kind of shut it down a little bit and go light until the point where it was pretty much body weight by the time they got to the state week, to make sure they were fresh. Meanwhile, his football guys were lifting full bore. And so he's tailored that. It's up on the board. Did a really good job with that. Our basketball teams, I know this is winter now, I'm covering, but basketball teams have both had good showings already this year at different times. We've already brought home a second place finish in Pierce City tournament with our boys, and our girls finished third place in the Diamond tournament this year already, which was really exciting, and you know, just as easily could have been in the final of that tournament. If you were at that game, then you know that the East Newton girls had Diamond on the ropes, and Diamond's a very good program right now. Would likely be a Final Four contender if not for Miller, so they won't be. Diamond won't be, but they would be if not for a dynasty that Miller is right now. Coach Cole will win. He'll win his 200th game soon as a head coach, and so that kind of speaks to the clout that we have in that position. And so that'll happen in 2 more wins. So if you're on hand for that, give him a high five, something like that. Coach Fields has crafted a very tough schedule for our team this year, and that's partly a leftover from last year. You know, we wanted to maximize last year with that talented group, and partly on purpose for this specific group, and that's to toughen them up to make another district run and conference west run. We've already played Webb City, and we're going to play Ava on Tuesday. Before that, we're going to play Mount Vernon on Saturday, who's a little bit down this year, but they're still Mount Vernon. But we've got Ava and Springfield Catholic, who has a Texas Tech commit on their team. They're coming to town in late February, and then we're going to Joplin this year. They'll have maybe 3 or 4 D1 athletes on the floor at that time, so tough schedule. But you know, our guys are playing hard and showed out really well. Webb City had a little bit of a rough third quarter, but you know, I couldn't be prouder of how the athletes are competing this year. It's good to have East Newton and Patriots on their jerseys. So anyway, that's what I've got as far as positive notes. There's a lot more than that going on, but those are highlights. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We need someone make a motion to approve.
Program evaluations.
Yep.
Okay, Matt,
Second.
all in favor? Yes, 7-0. Okay, go down to the superintendent's report.
Enrollment we went up. We're currently, as of yesterday morning, we were at 1365 our enrollment. So it is, I thought we were gonna max out at 1359, but I mean,
Was that the family of ten
Two
that
were.
showed
yeah,
up?
we
or-
went up.
Okay.
So
Somebody slapped somebody.
we went up at Granby, went up at Triway, and went down 2 at the high school. But right now, I'm a little concerned about our December attendance hadn't been very good, so hopefully it'll come up. But we're sitting at 93.6. We were just that's a little low. We need to have a good spring, so that's lower than I would have liked it to be. So we'll have a conversation with our
That was the high school, and then slow us down.
yeah. And the high school's always floats around 91.5 to 92%. It's always there. It's tough to, and Granby usually leads the way because it's all in town. That's the difference. The Granby folks, they just live closer in town. So and you get to the high school and Triway, which are a little bit further trips. It's traditionally, since I've been here, that's just the way it is. So
It's
we'll try and build in some incentives and do some things to try and increase that a little bit for the second semester.
Are they wanting us at 93 or is it
94 is where they want us.
94, okay.
94. And that's just a goal. It's not a steadfast get there or you're in trouble. It's just 94%. But enrollment is very, very good. Very, very strong right now. As of November 1st, our final balance, or at the end of November, our final balance of Fund 1 was 1.2, teachers 1.7, and that is actually very good. That's where we put $1 million from ESSER in there. So as we get near the end of the year, that will all disappear in June. Every bit of it will disappear in June. So at the end of the year, that has to be 0, and it will. Fund 3, debt service, we're sitting very well for our payments this year. Our payments were $530,000. We currently have $495,000 in there, so we are right where we're supposed to be. Because we'll have, once our local tax rate, our local funding comes in for local taxes, that'll jump way up over $530,000. So it'll be right where we're supposed to be. It'll be probably closer to $800,000 as soon as those checks come in, and then we'll spend $530,000 and next year we'll do the same thing again. So, capital fund, we currently have $456,000 in there. That we started the year with 600. We transferred that 620,000 in there. At the end of this year, I'm hoping that's about $1.2 million, somewhere in there. We'll see. That's the goal, because we'll transfer. I'll ask you all to transfer another 620,000 at the end of this year, as we come to the end of this year, to get that up to fund those summer projects and those things that we have there. And we have the money to do that. We just haven't transferred it yet. So, and right now we're sitting at almost $4 million. If you add up all our funds together, we're close to $4 million in cash and cash flow and our reserves. So we're in very good shape. For the month, total revenue was a little over $1 million. Expenditures 1.1, so we just spent about $119,000. We are still $1.1 million ahead of the game, and that's without any of our local income so far, our local funding. None of our local funding's been in there. We got our December check. We just got it the other day for the early taxpayers, and I believe it was $640,000, and that's the early. And the next check will be well over $2 million. The January check usually is well over $2 million. So we are, again, financially, we're in very good shape. Revenue and expense. Last year, our expenditures were 4.2. They're 4.8 this year, so a difference of $557,000. Which again, I can explain it to you all again, but that's basically catching up on summer projects and paying for things that we just didn't do last year. So we're a little bit ahead there, that's fine. Revenue, our revenue last year at this time was a little over $4 million. It's almost $6 million right now, so $1.8 million up. Our revenue is up. And that's a combination of the ESSER money and our increased enrollment. 'Enrollment. It's a combination of those two things. That's why it's so much higher. Teacher fund last year, this is, labor cost, last year 1.9 million at this point, 1.9, so we're down about $50,000. General fund, again, we're up about almost $100,000 there, and again, that's all the switching of administrators that we did. So total, we've spent about $48,000 more this year than we did last year in labor cost. Transportation fuel, we're up about 16,000. Transportation labor up about 23,000. Supplies were down 3,000, and capital outlay, of course, we didn't spend any. We spent a whopping 4,000. That's all we spent last year. That $5,000. That's it we spent in capital outlay. So that number, we budgeted 200,000, so it should get up around 200,000 as the year goes on. Utilities, electric. Last year 82,000, this year 94,000, and hopefully this month, since it's so mild, or it's been so mild the November and December, that hopefully that we catch up a little bit there. Trash and phone, again, that's LaRue, and the high speed fiber at Triway. That's why that's higher, and I'll readjust that.
Hey, I'm trying to think who I talked to. Someone said that, that shouldn't be so with what we're doing at Triway with the.
Well,
We should have made it, gosh, I can't remember what it was.
we get most of that back on E-rate, so it won't. It's not going to be. We're going to get most of that reimbursed with E-rate, but having the fiber, we just beamed it down there. We didn't have any cost at Triway at all, and now we have cost at Triway because it's there.
Okay.
It's not ungodly expensive. It's just money we haven't had to pay before.
Okay.
So that's why it looks that way. So we are a little bit over budget so far, but we'll see how that goes. Remember, I built in a nice cushion on electric. We're halfway through the year and we spent 94, so we'll see how close we get there. COVID update, two positive students at Granby, that's it.
So the teacher that wasn't their teacher coach that had it, and that's all, they're all of them.
All done, already back.
Okay.
And then the next thing for me would be, you have a preview of the next year's calendar. It should be under everything. I put it all under the very bottom of your stack. So we've got, I'm working with the tab committee to create these two. I have them, they might be into that stack.
Okay.
So it's draft 1 and 2, they're very similar to last year, again, because remember, we're very tight, we don't have a lot of choices. So draft 1 is almost identical to this year, and draft 2, we take a couple more days at Christmas, and then should be there it is. So draft 1 is basically identical to this year.
It's right underneath this,
Very bottom.
next to the green, there you go. Just want it.
And then draft 2, it's a couple more days, we go a couple days longer at Christmas and then get out a few days earlier at the end of the year. We had a draft 3 that I ran through the tab committee, and they looked at it and thought, nah, there's no way, because basically what it did was gave them some more extra, a couple of 4-day weeks in the spring. And they said or 4-day weekends in the spring, and they said they'd rather get out earlier than do those 4-day weekends. So really,
I'm not gonna vote on.
yeah, well, I'll send it out when we get back. I'll send it out and have them vote on it, and then January I'll bring you what they selected, and you can vote on that then. We used to have a calendar hearing, but we don't have to do that anymore, because the calendar hearing was to approve starting 10 days before Labor Day, but now since it's mandated, we don't have to have a calendar hearing, but you still all have to approve the calendar.
Well, I can see that you have still in the first semester, this one has 69 days, and this one has 66 days. And I'm telling you, as a teacher, that's hard, that is difficult.
I get it. The only solution is to end end the first semester. If we wanted to even it out perfectly, you'd have to end it after the beginning of the year, so.
And we used to do that, right? I mean, we've done it before.
So everybody come back and take finals after being off 2 weeks?
Yep.
I don't think it's a good plan.
Well, if they really retained it, which is what our goal is in education, then they should be able to do that. I mean, if they
In
can't,
reality, I don't think that.
well,
But we also teach them all the tests.
Well, yeah.
I would expect my students.
So this isn't approval, this is just a prelim of what the TAB committee approved when I met with them, so. That is my report. Any questions?
Maintenance.
If I pass these out, you guys not gonna laugh, are you?
We might. Well,
We
gotta see 'em
sometimes do
first.
that.
So that's what the guys have been doing, they stayed busy, you can see. They're about done installing the new drinking fountains at Granby campus. They decided to just hit a campus and stay there, because it just seemed to work for them. So that's what they did. So that's a lot of work right there. You guys know that, and the rest of this stuff is, I call it a lot of work too, but it's a lot of honeydews too. During the shutdown, they'll have a lot of work to do too, but we're also gonna try to run new wire in the rock building for the intercoms, because we had a big wire go bad, and they can't, the only way to change, you just gotta change it out. So that's gonna be a big project, but I'm gonna have the guys run the wire and then have the technicians come and pick it up at both ends. They told us where to go A to B, and we're trying to save some money, because they're like, make big bucks an hour compared to us. So, any other questions? To answer your question, there's 150 water closets at the.
Thank you.
150.
So really fixing
126
7 or 8
cents.
of them is not too bad.
Right, right. Thank you for getting back with me on that. I was just, yeah.
I know, and
And it really, I mean, the numbers really slowed down this time on it.
Yeah. Chuck asked me, I'm like, well, the second
The-
thing after or something. Is it?
the lady, Amy, asked me how many toilets are out there. We have 16 toilets in the field house.
Really?
In such a standing area. Wow. It's just, it's unreal, but that's what we have. To me, it's, you know, when you're taking care of one at home, that seems like a lot.
Right.
Any questions? I'll shut up.
Yeah, but you can just make your kids at home.
Thank you.
Well, it looks like you've been busy.
And busy.
Thank you. Curriculum, Mr. Charlton.
We finished up our second benchmark testing at both Granby and Triway. They finished that up probably last week sometime. And results have been disseminated to the teachers so they can, you know, make whatever adjustments they need to make in their classrooms based on what the benchmarks look like. The RTI at both Granby and Triway is looking at being modified based on the STAR testing that they've gotten. So they're looking to see, based on how the kids did, and then adjusting their RTI to make it more focused, more intense on the intervention by the teachers, so they can go exactly with what the deficiencies are for each kid. And then they're also looking at the study island testing to construct new tests for each one of those based on the learning standard for each. And I know how every test has standards on it, and so based on what question they got wrong, that's a particular standard. So if they notice that a particular question is getting wrong a lot, they can address that particular standard with lots of different questions with more intense focus. So that'll let them know. And especially because too, sometimes the teachers, maybe they haven't addressed the standard yet because they may not be getting to it until then. That's why these first and second benchmarks, we try to address just the things that they've been doing in class, not asking them questions that, you know, they haven't really addressed yet, because that's not gonna, our crystal ball is not gonna be very accurate then. So hopefully the study island testing with the new tests that they can construct with them, that'll give them a little bit more data they can use and help the kids, you know, advance a little bit longer along that. STAR testing for kindergartners, we haven't done that at all yet, mostly because they can't read yet. But we do have to start testing them in January, so we'll start looking at those tests probably toward the end of January, and they'll start testing both those groups at Granby and Triway. Third session training for letters, which is the language essentials for teachers of reading and spelling that we've been going through. That's very in-depth focus training that we've been doing on our PD dates. We've got number 3 done with that, and we've only got 1 left, and that will be in February. And then the teachers will have their assessment for that. So they actually have to take a test for that I will be prying them along with, because I don't want to repay the state for the amount of money that they gave me to do that. So, and they've been doing a really good job. The teachers have been very conscientious about that and everything. So I know that the teachers and the kids are looking forward to a nice break and everything, because they've really put in a lot of work and effort the first semester. So really do appreciate that. Like Ms. Harper said, it's a very truncated first semester, so they're really trying to get a lot of stuff in first semester and everything, and they've done a really good job with that. So, does anybody have any questions about anything?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, old business.
We have to update our return to learn plan. And I sent you all the information that the Attorney General sent out and those things. So basically, there's other schools that are having to do some massive changes. We don't have to. The biggest change or the only change we really have is in our return to learn plan. It said we will follow the guidance of the Newton County Health Department. Now, instead of saying follow the guidance, I changed it to say in collaboration with the Newton County Health Department. So we're not following their guidance anymore, because we're not supposed to do that anymore. So, but everything else we already had in place. We weren't, at no point were we quarantining anybody, or we didn't have a mask mandate and we weren't quarantining anybody. If we have a positive student, yes, we send them home, and we'll continue to do that. But we were doing
We're
that.
only sending home positive students who test positive?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that won't change at all. That won't change at all. The Attorney General overstepped his bounds on that one a little bit, saying that schools can't send home kids who are sick.
We've been doing that for years.
Yeah, there's at least 5 different Missouri statutes that say, yes, schools are required to do that. So it's not, so he, his own agenda, I believe, but yeah, we'll continue to do that. No school in the state's gonna keep a kid if they're sick at school. I mean, we've been sending them home for flu, and the rule is 24 hours.
Fever free,
Yeah,
before you can come back.
Yeah, and we'll continue to do those things, so that won't change. So, but what'll change is that if we have a positive kid, the Newton County Health is still going to, tell them to isolate, and we'll see how that goes, see if they get challenged, but we'll still report that to Newton County Health, and they will still ask those students or staff or students, whoever it is, to isolate, and then they're still gonna have the 7 days. If you're making 7 days symptom-free and you negative test, you can come back, and it's 10 days and symptom-free if you don't
What do we
test.
do for quarantine?
We don't do anything for quarantine.
They don't have to wear a mask at school or anything?
We are not allowed to do that anymore.
So we were doing that, but we're not now.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's what I was-
And that was following
Yeah.
the guidance of,
Okay.
it wasn't written into our plan, it was saying following the guidance, and their plan said that, so their plan no longer does that, and that was never our mandate, or never our decision, it was their decision, we just followed them, so we will no longer do that.
Okay.
So.
Do we have any public comment on the discussion? Anybody? Nope.
No, that's what we were asking for public, that's why we
Yeah.
put it this way, public comment on that, yeah,
Okay.
So, the only change is that one minor word going from following the guidance of to collaboration with. So that's the only thing that changed, but at 6 months we have to renew it. And I'll have it on there every month from now on to be approved every month for any changes. So this will be here for the rest of the year, it'll be here. There might not be any changes at all, but I'll still ask the board to approve it every month from here on out.
Are we doing basically what other schools around us are doing?
Yes, other schools are having to come back to what we were doing in the first place.
Okay.
So a lot of the schools are pulling way back. Monette has had to pull way back, so is Nevada. So other schools that.
Neosho, right? They had to pull back.
Neosho was along the same lines as us. schools that did, Seneca, us, Reed Spring, we were all kind of doing the exact same thing. But other schools in the Big Eight had to pull way back, because they're just, but it's a different political atmosphere in a different area where they are, so they were doing those things, but we were pretty much compliant already in our plan. So we will need approval of that.
Okay.
And also need approval because it has to be renewed in 6 months for us to get our ESSER 3 money.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All right, Robin second, Matt, you made the motion. Okay, all in favor? 7-0.
The audit report, the audit's a clean audit. There's two things that, one that we always get dinged on is separation of duties in accounts payable. They would like us to separate those duties. We don't have the woman power to do that. So we have folks who are isolated doing one job. We have checks and balances in there to prevent any issues, but they would like it separated. We just don't have we would have to hire another person in the central office to separate them.
I'd like to have them come and report to us, that's what they used to do. They usually come and report their findings at a board meeting.
Well, there are no findings.
Well,
Right.
but they report that. We did it for years, I don't really know when we stopped.
I don't know either.
But
Is it in this book though, right?
Yeah, the letter is in there, there's a letter in
And
there.
the letter is in the paperclip.
Oh, it's in this.
It's also in the book.
Okay, okay. it's
But the
also-
letter to share with you is,
And then the second part that we got dinged on was we didn't get our, we didn't get, our quarterly budget online in a timely manner. We were a couple weeks late getting it up, so in November or in October, we should have had a quarterly report. We didn't have it up, so we got, they just said, make sure you get it up. So, but other than that, it's a clean audit. The ladies did a wonderful job. All the ladies in the office did an incredible job making sure we balanced and there were no strange things, nothing. It's a clean audit. So, and I want to thank the ladies in the office for, Ms. Charlton and the ladies and everybody for what a wonderful job they do with that. Because that's a major undertaking. So we'll need you to approve that because I have to send the minutes in to Desi.
and I have to get them published.
Yes,
Okay.
and that has to be done before December 31st.
Move we approve the audit report. Second.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, 7-0.
Since we have a lady one of our central office ladies retiring, we have to change the names on the our bank account and the CD, our CD name change as well, scholarship CD name change. But we have to change some names on that as well. But we'll ask you to do that each individually.
Yeah. And these are gonna be, we asked that you make it effective January 20th. I
Okay,
have to have this verbiage in here for the bank.
okay, so
So I send
effective
them on
January
minutes.
20th,
Yes.
okay?
And what names do we need to,
So we need to remove Karen Taylor from all 4 of the district accounts and add Christina Bickle. And then on the CD, we need to remove Tammy Yost and Karen Taylor. And that's the E.W. Allen Scholarship CD, and add Lori Martin and Christina Bickle.
we need to do them separate?
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Okay, so I move that we, remove Karen Taylor from all 4 of the bank accounts and add Christina Bickle, effective 20th of January? Okay, 22. We need to do them separately then?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay,
Was that Andy?
Andy, yes, Andy. Okay, all in favor? 7-0.
And then to remove Tammy Yost and Karen Taylor from the scholarship CD.
You can just say something.
Yeah, I'll move. Same date.
Okay, Andy,
I'll second.
all right, all in favor? 7-0.
We received email from MSBA Monday morning saying, please approve BBB policy update, school board elections. Because it changed, remember the filing dates changed and the verbiage they have in there changed to reflect that. So it's pretty simple, they just show it.
Scott, second. Okay, all in favor? 7-0. All right, salaries and stipends discussion. Did any of you look at have time to look at the material?
C.
I had a question on how we determine what the percentage is that we pay for extended contracts. You know, like some of them have an extended contract that's 11,000 that we pay 11,000 on, and some of them have extended contracts that we only pay $1,300 on.
Extended contracts or
Well,
extra
that-
duty or
Well,
stipends?
no, it
or-
says extended contract, so like, you know, you take, on the second page, there's a $2,022 for, an extended contract, and then right below it is one for
She's
11.
on something different.
Where-
She's on the salary.
Oh, salaries?
Salary.
Okay.
It's just how many days they work, extra days they work. It's, the extended contract's based on actual, how many extra days they work.
Okay.
Is it based on the
Where they are-
starting salary or where they are?
Where they are on the salary schedule.
Okay.
It's basically just extra days. We take their, they get paid extra days, so if they're making 32.5, the base salary, we break that down into their daily pay, and then when they do extra duty, they get that extra pay. So it's the exact same thing they're making for, and it's their, based on their salary.
As I went through this, and I didn't get everything done I was trying to do, but based on, I think that we need to think about redoing the administrator's salary schedule, and I know you weren't here, you didn't create it. But, if I added correctly, we have 9 administrators at almost 800,000 on their salaries. And our teacher's starting salary is 32,000. Last year, most of the teachers that got a raise went up $400. But I guess based on our salary schedule for administrators, we had one at almost 2,400, another one at close to 1,200, another one at close to 400. I had to do math on this, so I could be wrong on some of it. Well, what I'm getting
Some of
at-
that, there's only a handful of, that, most of the administrators are locked out at 10 years and aren't getting
Well,
raises.
I used last year's information and this year's information.
I can just tell you that, I don't know
Their
what the
their
difference.
salary went up, I can tell you.
I can probably name the people whose
On what
salaries
this
went up,
is.
so.
Well, I just feel like that our teachers, we have paras, and those people are vital to our school district. And, you know, but yet they're the least paid, and I know we need administrators, I'm not saying that. You know, we're kinda heavy on men, we have 9 administrators. This is based on what I was getting last year. So I think that would be correct when we take Rusty on. And, we only have 2 women. Not one administrator lives in the district. We don't have anybody, we're paying them high salaries, but they're not paying back to our communities, or not to our communities, but to like their taxes that the rest of us are all paying. And out of all these people, Scott Charlton, I believe he deserves everything you earn. I mean, you do, because you've been here a long time, you are an East Newton person, and you come back to our district, and I know he's always, you're always seeing your places, and I appreciate that. I think that's good. And I'm not saying anything mean about any of the people. I just think we need to look at our salaries, and teachers, they work hard. They got a $400 raise, but I think the insurance ate that, if I can recall what they got. I also, and I know this is a different board, and that's one thing that's aggravating. Board changes and sometimes rules then start to change. That, Robin, you and I, we're on this with other people. And one of the things that was, administrators should not be getting stipends, administrators should not be coaching. And, I know you should recall that because Eric and Mandy were both big on that too. But yet we're doing that again. And I just think it's always giving the money, excuse me, always giving the money up top. And I feel like we need to, or whatever we need to work on, we need to work on our teachers and our paras. Those people need to get a decent salary. Cost of living has certainly gone up more than $400, all of us know that. You know, you're paying more than $400 for the whole year over what you paid last year on things. And I just would like to see us help out our teachers and our other staff. Any
I'm with
comments?
Judy, I'm with Judy on that one. Alright. Being a bus driver for so many years and being a substitute teacher, kind of, yeah, cooking staff. If you need to know what's going on with the kid, you need to ask the bus driver, ask a custodian, ask kitchen staff, ask a teacher.